Welcome back to our Devlog series of our survival game Above Stakes, in which a terrible plague turns people into living dead. In this survival game, you can create your own world by placing isometric world pieces next to each other depending on the resources that you currently need. In our last video, we shared how we added the farmland biome to the game. In this one, our developer Mark will reveal a brand new biome, the desert biome. And I will show you how we created new interesting enemy types, events in which you have to fight them in waves, our new tutorial section, and some quality of life improvements we did to the game. And make sure to stay until the end of the video to find out why our new enemies should be more fun to play against. The first impression of a game that you play is crucial. It can completely make or break the experience for you. Before looking at our enemy design, let's talk about our new tutorial. I think that a good tutorial is one that you don't recognize as one. They are embedded into the story and let you immediately play the game instead of making you play a boring tutorial. Do you remember our old tutorial? If you played the demo during Steamfest last summer, or if you're part of the closed alpha, you probably have. If not, check out our Discord, link is in description, to stay updated about opportunities to play. In our earlier tutorial, you started on an almost empty world piece, and we designed tutorial quests in a way that you gave them to yourself. Like, I should get some lumber to build my shelter, or I'm hungry, I should collect berries. While this approach works for many survival games, in Above Snakes we want to handle things a little differently. In the old tutorial, you were thrown into a world that has been affected by the spreading plague that turns people into undead. But you never experienced that or saw that by yourself. But we want you to be able to experience that firsthand. So we designed a special tile for that occasion. A lumberjack settlement called Hunter's Rest that has been damaged by the meteors and is affected by the plague during exactly that night that you stayed there. You now wake up in an almost destroyed town and help the survivors to rebuild the settlement. This is a good opportunity to teach players the building system of Above Snakes in a safe environment. Later on, you try to heal a wounded person by finding a bandage. That way we can teach players looting and interacting. When you try to heal that person, he suddenly turns into a living dead that you will need to fight. We think that this way we can let players experience firsthand the consequences of the incident. I created a whole video in which I show big parts of the Hunter's Rest questline and also show more of our design insights. And now let's talk about the new enemy design. But wait, before that, let's talk about the new desert biome first. Mark, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, of course, Toby. I'd love to give some details about the desert and the quest that we implemented there. After you complete the farmland questline, your journey leads you into the desert where you will find a lone gunman called Mr. Jones. He has been heavily injured by something, but he blacked out before he could find out what it was. It turns out that green meteors and a spreading plague are not the only supernatural things happening in this world. After fixing Mr. Jones's wounds and finding out what hurt him, you are set on your way to eliminating the source of this evil, which may be in an abandoned military fort. The fort was built in the middle of a desert during the Great War and was home to a lot of soldiers and generals. The player gets to explore it with a rusty rifle in hand, which the lone gunman gave you as a reward for helping him. So this is the part of the game where we introduce rifles and gunfights. The fort also has 3 watchtowers that need to be cleared. Those watchtower areas are event locations in which you have to fight the skeletons in waves. You'll have to fight different types of skeletons with different abilities. That brings us to the question, what do you think makes a good enemy in a video game? Leave it in the comments below.
We've had enemies in our game for over a year now, but there are a couple of problems with them. They are not really predictable, they are boring to fight against, and don't require any particular strategy. All in all, these enemies are not much fun to play against, and they are not what we want for the final game. So we brainstormed what makes good enemies and came to the following conclusions. Attacks should have patterns, so you can study them and get better at fighting them. Different enemy types should require different strategies to fight against. And each enemy type should be challenging, but challenging in a different way. While fulfilling all of these criteria, we also want them to have a simple design. We began designing our melee enemies, which should be the most simple ones. Technically, there was not so much wrong with our old melee enemies, except that the attack animation was too fast and dodging attacks was almost impossible. So while designing our new melee enemy, which should be a skeleton using a machete, we solved this problem with a simple trick. Before his attack animation that causes damage, we duplicated that animation and cut it in half, where the transition begins from the arm moving back to starting the actual attack. The first half gets slowed down massively, so we have more time to react and can therefore predict his attacks. The next enemy should be a ranged enemy that should deal more damage but should be a little bit more fragile. We already had these gun-wielding skeletons in the game, but the problem was that the attack was not dodgeable. So we used the same trick that we used for the melee enemy and slowed the first half of the aiming animation down, and additionally created a red line in the direction where the shot will go. We added a timer and can configure per enemy how long the aiming process should be and decrease that with the game's progression. The last enemy that we wanted to add is a ranged enemy that creates an area of damage. Keeping up with the theme of Wild Western military skeletons, we decided on dynamite throwers. These guys throw dynamites that explode after some time when landing somewhere. To make it fair, a red circle around the dynamite is created that you can dodge. With our machete skeletons, gunmen, and dynamite throwers, we have a cool arsenal of skeleton enemy types that are fun to play against, especially when you have to fight multiple at once. Okay, final section. But first, quick question. Are you subscribed to our YouTube channel already? If not, this is your chance to do that right now for more indie game dev content. Okay, back to topic. Final section, quality of life improvements. We show your current quests on the left side of the UI, but sometimes that can get a little messy when you have too many quests at once. So we added a new UI called the Quest Journal, in which you can decide which quest to track and which not. You can also reread the quest text in case you missed them. We rewrote the whole save system of Above Snakes. In the past, we used the Windows registry to save the game, and you can certainly do that for smaller games. But for Above Snakes, this was just not ideal. We now use the file system and save the game in a JSON format, allowing us to have the option of multiple save slots in the future and be able to save the game on consoles. We also enabled Steam Cloud saves, and we will use that once the beta is rolled out. We are currently working on making the save files compatible with Steam Deck 2, so you can seamlessly play on the same save file between all of your devices. Don't miss when we announce the transition into beta, but for now I have two options for you. If you haven't already, check out our last devlog in which we introduced the farming biome and a crop farming system, or do you want to know more about our tutorial section Hunter's Rest and our design decisions? In this video, we play the tutorial and share our thoughts. Either way, thank you for watching and see you in one of these videos.